All glory go to the Creator. It's an honor to be here today. But I love the theme, American healing. Well, first, let's think about something. Where did America come from? Have it always been America? Or was it just created to be America? Who are the real Americans? America keep changing and changing and changing. Let's go back in time when the American Indians looked like I look and roamed the southeast part of the United States freely. I love what the mayor said. We have to tell the truth. We cannot heal America till we fix the foundation. Can we start right there?
Chief Warhorse and her tribe do not officially exist. They're not entitled to federal support.
We are punished today because we helped free slaves, okay? If my tribe never helped to free slaves, they may never would have bothered us. If we would have just continued helping Europeans as they came in, we were fine. But when we decided to help the slaves, now we did something wrong. So that's why I don't have my recognition today.
At the beginning of the 18th century, runaway African-American slaves sought refuge with the Choctaw, and eventually the two tribes mixed. During the Jim Crow era, the mixed-blood children of those marriages were categorized as black because of the color of their skin. Other tribes...
My mission. Okay. To get to that point, we need to step back a point. The hardest part I've seen in my fight, and I'm the chief of the tribe, is when you come up against people of color as well as European descent, and you say Indians, they're looking for the Bill Cody, Long Ranger Tonto style thing. And when you actually show them that the indigenous people were actually my color, as I have a habit of telling people, a cocoa brown, or a brown piece of leather well put together. I have a lot of ways of using slangs to tell people that we are still here because we were not weak. We were here before DeSoto and Christopher Columbus. We have to be strong to make it through those disasters. During Katrina, I told them Katrina was not a Category 5. My people had came through some Category 5s, and we survived them. So Katrina to me was going to be an easy thing to survive, because when you're hit by a category named DeSoto, Category 5, and it lingers around for 400 to 500 years, steady beating on the shore, and it just won't move. That's a disaster. Not a disaster that just come and go, but a disaster that's still lingering. Then when you have a person like George Washington, that was a Category 5. He hit, and we're still lingering because he's still on shore. Okay, so that's two categories sitting on shore at the same time. It's a God-given right. Okay, a God-given right. Because even the people that's in churches of whatever race, they keep singing about the 12 tribes of Israel, or they keep singing about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Well, everybody didn't come from Jacob. That's right. And if they did, that means everybody ought to be black. Because Jacob was married within his tribe. People that looked like him. He married his uncle's children. Okay? So, when we sit here, we won't even tell the truth about what Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob looked like. So, then I have to go to mine, like I told this caller that come from you. How far back you think they've been stealing our color and race? And do you think they're going to get real people back their race? No. That's something we have to stand up. We have been allowing, like I was telling you before the show started, we have allowed people to make us accept things. When the Europeans have come here, whatever they don't like, they write a law. And they stick together and they push it through. Okay. He better be just moved in here from Africa, because he hung around Louisiana at any given time. He don't know what he is.
They look at us as a diluted race.
I tell my people a lot of time back in the village, most people are more closer to being a mutt without a pedigree than ones with a pedigree.
That's right.
If you don't know where you come from in your genealogy, you just a mutt.
That's right.
Now you can get mad with me, brother, but I want you to move from being a mutt to having a pedigree. I'm saying you come from somewhere, from somebody. Let's lay that out. So that they can stop making us feel like we just a gumbo.
That's right.
Who are your ancestors and which way did they come here?
That's right.
Because otherwise, you just saying you're from Africa, nobody's paying you any attention either. You just as bad off or worse. Because at least I have some land papers saying I was here. Now I want you to show me your land papers that you were in Africa.
We've got
I was always told the proof is in the pudding. So in my family, we didn't tell the white folks all our business. So when they stole our identity, mispronounced it as Choctaw, they would come back into Lacombe, see our ways of living, and then they would mimic this back in Oklahoma. We have to ask as historians, who signed the Dancing Rabbit Treaty and some of the other treaties? Research their name and see if the people that's in Oklahoma, I'm finna get real controversial. Let's see if there's really Native Americans that your tax money is paying for today, no matter what color you are. I said, if the government want to really know who's been ripping them off, check out and see who's inside that pudding. Because what's in the pudding sure ain't chocolate. It's all vanilla. Okay?
right here.
Right now, to the brother that called in earlier, there are land papers before slavery in my people name here. How was it? Because when the Europeans came here, what Roger is talking about, we gave a lot of people some spots to settle. But they took those spots and wanted bigger spots. My people right now, the Choctaw, they took on the end from our people, I'm talking about the end of the big take, 25 million acres of land by removing my people from here to Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. That was the last of their land. 25 million acres of land. And it was people that looked like me. What Andrew Jackson did was he appointed some Europeans. I want you to know how I'm here, brother. My grandfathers were generational of chiefs. I come from a line of chiefs. I'm from a royal family of chiefs. What the Europeans did was took my people, took the women and the children, and some European that Andrew Jackson was friends with, appointed them as chiefs. Left the original chiefs back here. Took the white chief that he appointed, which into Oklahoma is, as you know today, as Indian Territory. Indian Territory was set up by mixed breeds. Okay?
Yeah.
The people that signed the treaty was either non-native or mixed breeds.
That's right.
The full breeds was left back here. And after a while, they infiltrated us into what we know as African American today. I'm not saying we're not family from back in time. I'm saying I was just here. Some come by slave ship. I came here years before by entrepreneurship. Either way it go, brother, we in here on the same ship. Yeah. When Katrina hit, it didn't stop to see which ship brought you in. The first one or the second one. And this is what I'm challenging my brothers and sisters to do. Let's see what ship we in now. And what can we do to stop up and plug up some of these holes before we sink even deeper?
Oh, yeah, don't get me started. I know. Okay. All right, Linda, I'll let you go next, and then we'll let Chief have it and take it from there. Go ahead, Linda.
Well, my mission in this is to thoroughly and intrinsically connect this to the education community with people who feel, not because my way is the right way, but because it's the truth. And we want the truth to come out as historians. So it was truly a gift when Wes introduced me to Chief to find out that everything that I was always, for lack of a better term, I'm just going to say this. I hear African Americans, black people especially say, I have Indian in me. And in my mind, I would always say, no kidding. You should know that you have it in you. Because my great-great-grandfather is Cherokee Indian. So I was a member of a congregation last week that's called the Association of African American Museums. I am thoroughly involved in civic engagement. with my community and the community at large in general. So I really want to disseminate information and to not only to disseminate it, but just research to find out the truth so that the world will know that there are people indigenous to America. It's not fiction. It's not something that's make-believe. It's the truth that there are Black ancient Indian tribes. Okay, so we have people who have researched it. At this conference that I attended, I connected with Dr. Thomas Durant, who is a retired professor of. I can go forward from here to implement my mission.
Okay. To get to that point, you need to step back a point. The hardest part I've seen in my fight, and I'm the chief of the tribe, is when you come up against people of color as well as European descent, and you say Indians, they're looking for the Bill Cody, Long Ranger Tonto style thing. And when you actually show them that the indigenous people were actually my color, as I have a habit of telling people, are cocoa brown, or a brown piece of leather well put together. I have a lot of ways of using slangs to tell people that we are still here because we were not weak. We were here before DeSoto and Christopher Columbus. You have to be strong to make it through those disasters. During Katrina, I told them Katrina was not a Category 5. My people had came through some Category 5s, and we survived them. And I can be classified as an Indian, versus I can be 99 drop Indian, 1 drop Black. Now I cannot be an Indian. Are y'all with me? And this is what this blood quorum thing they have used against us. That, to me, should be illegal at this day and time in the United States. And the reason it's not illegal because it haven't been exposed enough. And a lot of people do not know through the media and universities the discrimination and racism and prejudice that Indians face today. When I say Indians, I'm not talking about Oklahoma. I'm not talking about a lot of these tribes, and I'm going to be honest with you, here in Louisiana. Those are tribes put together underneath Andrew Jackson and underneath the Indian rights law. I'm talking about indigenous Indians who picked up the name Indian as a tag by Europeans.
Just like nigger.
Thank you.
That's right.
And by giving us that tag, you stole our real identity. There's a swap took place.
And that's my point, Chief. Excuse me. That is my point. I don't know if I made that clear when I made that little statement in the beginning. When I hear my people of color say, I have Indian in me, that's why my reaction is like it is. Really? Well, why don't you find out about that?
Because the United States have fixed it for you.
You know,
our people are on the internet.
Think that.
He calls me all the time. Like he said, he's out there. He calls me all the time. Chief, I found these people. Would you talk to them? You know, I'm like, Roderick, some of them done lost their marbles. You know, and I'm just being honest, and I'm a truthful person. I said they done lost their marbles. Because what they don't understand is the United States not fixing to give us United States back. Okay?
We've conquered.
What I want to know is where do we get the government relationship we was promised under these lying treaties? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And where do we get as a nation to be able to teach our people within their own culture? Where do we get to enrich ourselves, not only financially, but spiritually and physically, without the United States hindering that? Roderick had someone to call me a couple of days ago, and he said, what are your greatest interests? I said, well, one, I would like to be able to farm the land again. I would like to drink clean, clear water again that's healthy. He said, I would like to be able to ride through my town, or my people ride through their town, and not tell me that they got to look over their shoulder because they saw a white police car. And I ain't talking about the car being white, and the white police in it.
Yeah.
I said, and another thing I'm fighting for is that we as a nation have a place of governing that is represented and recognized by the United States government. They said, well, that's federal recognition. I say, no, that's not. That is a God-given right. Okay, a God-given right. Because even the people that's in churches of whatever race, they keep singing about them 12 tribes of Israel. Or they keep singing about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Well, everybody didn't know about what Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob looked like. So then I have to go to mine, like I told this caller that come from you. How far back you think they've been stealing our color and race?
Thank you.
And do you think they're going to give the real people back their race? No. That's something we have to stand up. We have been allowing, like I was telling you before the show started, we have allowed people to make us accept things. When the Europeans have come here, whatever they don't like, they write a law. And they stick together and they push it through.
That's right.
It's time we, don't get mad at me because I had a gentleman call me one time. He says, well, how can you be a chief? One of Roger callers. How can you be a chief and be a woman? I said, how did you get here without a woman? Took a woman to bring you in this world. And you show me another way a woman didn't lead a man in here when she led you into life.
That's right.
Okay? So next thing, I challenge my men of color to give us the respect that God gave us right to. He made us the one to bring about you. That doesn't make us disrespect you. That doesn't make us behind you. God put us in front. He put us here to bring you forth. Now, as a woman, do I respect my men? Yes, they're the strength of our country. But the United States found a way to break them down too.
That's right.
I hear people say my deadbeat dad. Well, let me name y'all some deadbeat dads. As historians, we need to talk about. Who's paying for Andrew Jackson deadbeat grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren?
An entire family.
Who are paying for these illegitimate
That's right.
children
That's
that
right.
white men's made here?
That's right.
When an Indian had more than one wife, and even the Bible, Jacob had more than one wife, and he took care of them all. He took care of his children. He was not looking for somebody else to come feed his children.
That's right. But you
Okay.
see, you're militant and you're an activist if you talk about these things.
But this is tribal
That's the way they
truth.
look at it.
Let's be tribal truthfully. So
let
that
me
means
let me interrupt for just a second, if you don't mind, because I want to let our audience get in on this if we can.
American, identify with my African ancestry. When I hear my relatives who do genealogy talk about a Native American past, I'm not interested, because I feel that a lot of these things are still attempts on our part to escape our African heritage. Even if it were the case of Native American ancestry, I am black because I am African, not because I'm Native American. And the institutions, the African American family, church, the civic, social organization we developed saved my life and many other black folks' life. And so people have the right to identify with whatever they want. But I feel that this discussion among our people tends to get us off track as to our reality that we deal with in the world, and that we are oppressed because we are the African people.
Everybody wants to respond to you, Warren, but let me be the first one. From the same venue that you are in today, and believe me, my sentiments were the same. So let me try to quickly give you a response. We celebrate, and we can openly celebrate our Africanness with our brothers who have come from Africa but stayed here on this continent and made this continent home for thousands of years. We celebrate the fact that we were able to do this as a people, and we celebrate it because it shows us how great that we really are. I look at Chief here. I myself personally am an African. She's an African too, but she wants to talk about her achievements on this continent, and I'm willing to give her that. So I see it as a celebration of us showing our greatness and how we have influenced and conquered the entire world without destroying the world. Linda?
I want to say something. You know I can get long-winded, but
Well,
I'm going to try to make.
maybe
I'm
so
going to try. I know I'm going to try to
too.
make this really, really quick. I'm going to address. I want to address the Bible aspect of it. Okay. I've been going to church all of my life. All of my life. I cannot wake up on Sunday morning and not go to church. I come from parents who just groomed me that way. But it amazes me how many people go to church and don't really realize what they're listening to They don't read the Bible. They don't understand the dynamics of the military. It really scares me to know that we have a general population out here who vote. And if you walk into a mall with a microphone and ask the average person, and I'm not calling people ignorant, I'm just saying we need to know how we're functioning in this society. Ask a person, where is the West Bank? Where is the Gaza Strip? Where is Damascus, the place where Paul was on his way to?
Yeah.
Who are the people that lived on the West Bank? Who are the people that lived in the Gaza Strip? Where is the Nile River? Where is Iraq in relationship to Iran? And these people cannot tell you. They don't even know the natural dynamics of Iraq and Iran. They don't know that in Golda Meir's regime, this is when, the Iran started to look like a box, and Iraq looked like a box with a little thing hanging off of it, and it's the same way in the United States. You think that Louisiana just naturally looks like a boot?
Yes.
You follow me?
Yeah. Chief, I want you to respond to it.
Brother, I would like to say this to you. I'm not trying to change anyone's belief. A lot of the calls I get from around the country, I address some of the calls like you were just saying. I'm not trying to change your belief or your race, but I am saying for the last several hundred years, you've been on my land here. And what I am saying, be at least a little appreciative that when the slaves were running from their slave masters, we opened our doors and villages for you to be here today to tell me you from Africa. So, thank somebody from giving up everything they had because we believed in God, we feared God, and we opened up our doors and villages. We fed your people. We took care of your people. Same thing I would tell the Europeans when they ask me, what are you worried about? We're the people you based your Thanksgiving off of. We gave you everything and you gave us death. You gave us bloody trails of tears. Well, okay, African American have even given us a bloody trail of tears. You know what I get from my African brothers and sisters? That we opened our doors and gave to them life. They say, why are you worried about that now? You ought to embrace being of Africa. Well, I've been here for thousands of years. Now, brother, for me to go to Africa and tell Africa I'm a Native American, I have met with a lot of friends in Africa. They accept me as chief of this nation. India accept me as chief of my nation. Other countries do. Why can't my brothers and sisters of Africa here be more graceful and help us the way we help you all?
Warren?
Well, I disagree with her historic interpretation of Native Americans being saviors of those 12 million souls from Africa who were brought here, who saved this land. This Louisiana colony was saved by the Africans from growing rice. And the Native Americans participated with the Europeans in capturing Africa who were brought here, who saved this land. This Louisiana colony was saved by the Africans from growing rice. And the Native Americans participated with the Europeans in capturing Africans as slaves and also using them in the slave trade. And I just disagree with her historical interpretation on the record. I identify with those 12 million Africans brought here. They have the strongest soul and refuse not to die.
All right, Warren. Before I'm gonna let Roger. He wants to handle up on you in a minute, but I'm gonna invite you. We ought to sit down here and just have an open.
I want to say that we all are one people. Now, we might be subdivided into different names under Australians, Libyans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, whatever. We all still one people. If we say that we are Shatta, we are Native Americans, and we've been here on this land, that's who we are. Now, I can give you a brief history on how the West Africans came over on the boat to South America and set up civilization. It's been documented that the stoneheads are still down in La Venta, down in South America. Those, they call them Olmecs. The Olmecs mixed with some of the Chinese invaders that were coming in through the Bering Strait. And we mixed together and we made what is called the so-called Native American now, which is the red man. That's going around perpetrating on our property. Now, what you had done is we gave them parts of the land to civilize. I mean, not civilized, but inhabit. And we mixed in with those people. But you had the Europeans that came in and took it away from all of us through trickery, through different laws that that we could not live up to on their monetary system, through the forms of unjust taxes.
So what you're doing is you're actually giving us a history of integration, and how integration has always been detrimental to the black man, be he called indigenous to this continent or any continent.
But
before we go, we want to hit
one thing quick before he
Go
leaves.
ahead.
Let's look at the census that's coming out. First, my people were under Indian. Then someone come along and say, well, we're going to take them, we're going to move them again. We're going to make them mulatto. So some of my people got trapped back there under Indian, while some moved into the mulatto era. Then when the white man seen that wasn't going to eliminate enough of us, then he moved us from mulatto. Then he moved us to colored. I can show you how I got where I'm at. So then my people, some of them got left into the colored zone. Then they moved my people again into Negro, black, and African American. All I'm asking, my blood kin, I'm not asking you to change who you are. I'm looking for Pacific people that's lost here in New Orleans that have the same blood lineage that the two of us have, that got lost through the census. Like this time, last census, we were Native American. This census, we are going to be American Indian. You with what I'm saying? In each era, we lose people.
Why don't you just say Indian? Why you want to be American Indian?
They done changed us again. Now they have us American.
We want to be indigenous, period. We've got another call. We've got another call I want to get to. I want to ask the caller to turn your TV.
Praise the Lord. All glory to God. Praise is in my spirit. I feel that we are the original people of the universe.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother.
God used us. If you just look at our hair, you dig?
I hear that, and I understand where you're coming from, and we all tend to agree with you, my brother. We all
color is original beings, and this is where we at. We have been misled, but what the sisters and brothers saying, they are. See, Africans came here long years ago.
Yes.
Long years ago, they came here and was hooked up with Indian tribes long years ago. And this is what I see and understand. See, my mother, she was a African. I mean, she was sort of Indian. As I'm looking at this sister right here, on my mother's deathbed, she looked just like her, and the plaques and everything. You can see it coming back out of her. And this is what I know for a fact. All right, my brother. Thank you very much.
Hey, appreciate you
Bye-bye.
calling, brother. Thank you.
Brother Westwood, we allowed the white man to come in and just assume our identities. They came into Egypt and they assumed the identities of the Egyptians. They came down into Puerto Rico and assumed the Puerto Ricans' identity. Now they come in and they're assuming the Native Americans' identity. They're setting up tribes. They're getting government money. They're the thieves.
Oh, yeah.
They're the biggest thieves that's going around.
Can I say something?
Yes, I'm right here.
Right now, to the brother that called in earlier, there are land papers before slavery in my people's name here. How was it? Because when the Europeans came here, what Roderick is talking about, we gave a lot of people some spots to settle. But they took those spots and wanted bigger spots. My people right now, the Shatta, they took on the end from our people, I'm talking about the end of the big take, 25 million acres of land by removing my people from here to Oklahoma. That was the last of their land, 25 million acres of land. And it was people that looked like me. What Andrew Jackson did was he appointed some Europeans. I want you to know how I'm here, brother. My grandfathers were a generation of chiefs. I come from a line of chiefs. I'm from a royal family of chiefs. What the Europeans did was took my people, took the women and the children, And some European that Andrew Jackson was friends with appointed them as chiefs, left the original chiefs back here, took the white chief that he appointed, which into Oklahoma is, as you know today, as Indian Territory. Indian Territory was set up by mixed breeds, okay?
Yeah.
The people that signed the treaty was either non-native or mixed breeds. The full breeds was left back here. And after a while, they filtrated us into what we know as African American today. I'm not saying we're not family from back in time. I'm saying I was just here. Some come by slave ship. I came here years before by entrepreneurship. Either way it go, brother, we in here on the same ship.
Yeah.
When Katrina hit, it didn't stop to see which ship brought you in, the first one or the second one. And this is what I'm challenging my brothers and sisters to do. Let's see what ship we in now. And what can we do to stop up and plug up some of these holes before we sink even deeper?
And Chief, this is why genealogy is not a hobby.
No, it's not.
It's a necessity
Yes,
for
it
us.
is.
Our DNA pool, I don't have a word that I've coined yet to describe other than it's a gumbo. It's equal to a gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're just African American or black and white? You would be surprised at what's in your blood, and you need to research that.
Well, the brother that said he's from Africa, he better be just moved in here from Africa, because he hung around Louisiana at any given time. He don't know what he is.
They look at us as a diluted race.
I tell my people a lot of time back in the village, most people are more closer to being a mutt without a pedigree than ones with a pedigree.
That's right.
If you don't know where you come from in your genealogy, you just a mutt.
That's right.
Now, you can get mad with me, brother, but I want you to move from being a mutt to having a pedigree. I'm saying you come from somewhere, from somebody. Let's lay that out. So that they can stop making us feel like we just a gumbo.
That's right.
Who are your ancestors and which way did they come here?
That's right.
Because otherwise, you just saying you're from Africa, nobody's paying you any attention either. You just as bad off or worse. Because at least I have some land papers saying I was here. Now I want you to show me your land papers that you were in Africa.
We've got another caller we want to go to. Caller, ask you to turn your TV all the way down, talk to us directly through the telephone. Appreciate you watching. What is your question or comment?
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. I want to ask the young lady West a question.
We have
Chief.
two. Which one?
The chief.
Okay.
Yeah. Sister Gillum.
Yes.
Yeah. You were talking about a minute ago I believe you said someone said about the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, that was all designed and architected by President Andrew Johnson.
Andrew Jackson, yes.
Andrew Jackson. Sorry.
Yeah.
And what I was interested in was this. My understanding is the fort that they just finished restoring, called Fort Pike.
Fort Pike.
Fort Pike, yes, ma'am. It's right over there, by the lake. My understanding is in the process of that forced march to Oklahoma, some of the native people were temporarily, to use a better word, housed there before going on. I understand they housed there for a while, and I don't know how long it was. I was wondering two things: if you were aware or knowledgeable of how long did they keep them there, and did you have any of your own ancestors housed or temporarily stored at that Fort Pike?
Can I tell you, I'm so glad you called in. It must be by God's will. Fort Pike belonged to us before the Europeans ever came here. That was one of our forts, and it wasn't for a fort for battle against European. That was built as a safety zone with the water. So our people built mounds. Fort Pike was originally a mound and a storage place, okay? There were salt mines down there. And my people built that as what you would call a modern day refrigerator or deep freezer. Fort Pike, from my ancestors, was told to me, this was built where they went down and put meat, buffalo meat, and salted the meat. And that's where they stored it at. A lot of historians don't know that, so I'm giving them a clue to what Fort Pike was. That was a freezer, in other words, where they had their meat. In being in battle and dealing with Spain and France and them taking over the fort, it became a battle fort instead of what it was originally built for. And through that era, also that fort was used to keep other tribes from stealing your food supply. Okay? So at Fort Pike, through Spain taking it, France taking it, different ones have ruled there, the fort was used against many Indians in the Florida area. You're talking about the Florida parishes, and that's what I once was, a Florida Indian, not a Louisiana Indian. Louisiana, where I live at, was not a part of the Louisiana Purchase. It was taken in 1810 by decree. Still underneath Spain, we were still under. What you're looking at Fort Pike, the Seminoles was there just, what, Roger, 2 months ago? I met with the chief from Oklahoma of the Seminoles there. I was a guest there so that the two of us could meet, because of the plight that they suffered at Fort Pike, where thousands and thousands of their people died stacked like sardines, same as the slaves would say they came on slave ship. Well, these people were stacked like sardines in the bottom of on the basement there, and they died. Yes, I had uncles who died at the Fort Pike. They took what was ours and used it against us and destroyed us. Not only did Indians die there, also African slaves have died there.
Okay, we're good. We've got some more callers. We're going to get to them. Caller, we ask you to turn your television down, talk to us directly in the telephone. What's your question or comment?
Hello?
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
Hey, we're going well.
Great. What is it?
My question is, who was here first? The Indian or the slave?
Who was first, the Indians or the slaves?
Yes.
Well, I'm almost certain that it was the indigenous.
It's documented here, even in New Orleans, that they had more Indians in New Orleans than they had Europeans or slaves.
Yes. And answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay, we're going to try to get another caller in. We've got the fastest hour in television, and we only have about 2 minutes. Caller, we've got about 10, 15 seconds. What is your question or comment?
Yes, how you doing, Brother West, Brother Freddie?
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, it's to Chief Warhorse. Isn't it true that every major site, military base or government building, was built on a site that was first occupied by the indigenous people?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And while you're on that, I'm going to say this real fast. Right now, Fort Pike is the first and only one have stepped back for our nation and say, look, we're trying to fix back some of the stuff the older ancestors messed up. There are a lot of places, even if you go up into Fort Smith in Arkansas, that was used against us. That's another story that can get very deep. We're going to save that one, but I'm glad you're touching on the military part in it.
Appreciate it, my brother. We've got the fastest hour in television, and boy, it comes and goes, especially when we have such a packed house here. Linda, we got about 30 seconds for you to close out.
I always like to bring it home when I talk to you, Chief, because it's so much that I've been given, just an opportunity. It's past the word opportunity to just collaborate with you. In 8th grade, I had a history teacher, a Louisiana history teacher, that posed a question, and it opened my world. You are proof to me. After seeing your documentation, hearing you, talking to you, you are proof. You're living proof of that. Brother Roderick.
I just had a quick little thing about the brother who came first, the African or the Indian. I mean, we all one family. It doesn't matter who got here, because they enslaved the Indians as well as the Africans. At one time, the governor of Louisiana passed a law that no Africans could dress as Indians because they didn't know who was who. And that's the tradition of the Mardi Gras Indian, which I'm also a part of. And we try to preserve that history and keep it going.
Look at the knowledge coming out here tonight. Chief.
Well, it's not important. Is the chicken come first or the egg? See, that's where we're at. Is it the chicken or the egg? That's not important. Can we use both things as a resource to help us? And the egg is good and the chicken is good. That's what I'm going to close on.
Oh, I appreciate it, Chief. We thank you.